All right, guys, welcome back. You got Che here with Chris. This is our third time doing this. We've had a lot of fun making this a weekly thing. So here we are. Che and Chris is talking about cards. Thanks for joining us. Good evening, Chris. How you doing today, man?
Doing awesome. Had an extra day off work, had a 3-day weekend. So played with the kids outside. It was a wonderful, beautiful day here in Central Ohio. Had a great day. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just getting back to work. I spent a lot of time. We talked about this last week. I was home for like 4 months. So now I'm actually back in like a regular work week. My week was extremely busy at work. We have a couple of times a year that we get really, really slammed. And this is one of those times. So I haven't been on Twitter as much. Haven't been on eBay as much selling cards. Just my real world job has been taking up a lot of my time this week. So I'm excited to get to sit down and talk to you tonight and just get back to the hobby a little bit. So.
Yeah, I think it's the least amount I've talked to you since, we found each other on Twitter.
Yeah.
So I know you're busy out there doing your thing, but hey, we all got to do it, right?
We can't do this unless we do that. So we got to do it. Yeah.
This is a fun hobby, but
Yeah.
We got to go do that to pay the bills because
Yeah.
those need done.
So what's on your mind tonight, man? What are we going to talk about?
I saw a lot of tweets this week on underrated players, and one guy that really caught my eye was Tim Anderson, Chicago White Sox, because all we hear about is, Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert. Like, those are the two big guys, but Tim Anderson right now is leading the team in basically everything.
Yeah, we
And
actually
his
mentioned
cards
him a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I think on our first chat we brought him up. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
His cards are dirt cheap, and literally I think he's getting overshadowed. And same thing goes with, my guy, Jesse Winker. My daughter's a huge collector. And all of a sudden he's hitting, almost 400 over the last 10 days with 6 home runs and 7 RBIs, something like that. And the rest of the Reds team's hitting like 150 or something dismal. So Winker cards are actually, people are selling them and buying them on Twitter. And I've got to actually have competition to buy my daughter. We're going after the Chrome Rainbow that just came out. And I actually had to pay like $10 for a card that last week would have been 99 cents or someone would have sent rack to me. So, with the Reds, everybody knows Joey Votto. Castellanos was the guy that they brought in who hit all the home runs, was batting 600 the first week. Everyone loves the Punisher Aquino, but, he's the Reds, 7th best outfielder right now?
Yeah, he doesn't even play right now.
He's not even on the active roster, but people are still eating up his cards. And, all off the 8 home runs in 8 days last year hype. And it almost feels like a Gavin Lux situation, but I feel like Gavin's just buried under a pile of excellent players on the Dodgers where Aquino's the 7th best Red. So there's just a lot of people overshadowing those two guys. And I think they're guys that, the hobby can pick up, or they're exciting to watch. The White Sox, they're on TV often on WGN. And so,
It's too bad that Winker didn't wait a little bit for you to complete that rainbow before he went on his tear.
He couldn't have gave me a week.
Yeah. No, I've noticed the same thing too. Guys like Kevin Biggio in Toronto. He's got Vlad up there, Bo Bichette up there. Man, he's quietly putting up some good numbers this year. He's raised his batting average 40 points over last year. He's on pace to have about a 900 OPS. Already hitting a lot more home runs this year than last year, a lot more doubles. So I think, he's one that I thought of, and because you can get his cards dirt cheap as well. I mean, you can pick up, Biggio's for a little nothing. And then a guy that I hoarded a little bit early this year, who I like him a lot, and he's had a great week and he's had a pretty good season, is Trent Grisham from the Padres, man. The Padres are going crazy as a team.
Diego.
Yeah, Slam Diego. I mean, the other day he had 3 home runs, almost hit for the home run cycle. All he needed was a grand slam to have the home run cycle. He's I've liked him from the beginning, and I do have quite a few of his cards, but I think he's undervalued playing in the shadow of Tatis. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, San Diego's got Tatis, Machado, even Chris Paddock. Like, I've got Chrome PSA 10 rookie of him that was $10 that I got on eBay, and I'm just going to hold on to that guy for a while because that's just, to me, going to go up in value.
Oh, absolutely.
And we talk about graded cards. What are your thoughts on a PSA 9 versus buying a raw card?
If I'm buying a card, or if I'm selling, I mean, and I'll give an example of when I'm selling, but I don't have anything against a PSA 9. I think a PSA 9, it's mint, right? I mean, it's not perfect, but to me, there's a trust factor. If I'm buying a card off eBay and I see that it's a PSA 9, I'm not taking that random seller for their word that it's in this condition, or that it's that I'm going to get a card. I saw a guy on eBay yesterday that had to do on Twitter that had to do a return because he bought a card from eBay, and when he got the card, it was not the card that was pictured, and he knew it. I mean, he knew it right away. This is not the card I bought. So buying a PSA 10, a 9, I have no problem with it. I think oftentimes they're beautiful, beautiful looking cards. Just from the immediate eye appeal, you can't tell. I've got a Kobe right here, PSA 9, that you cannot.
Look at that.
Yeah, you can't. And looking at it, I cannot tell why it got the 9. It's still, to me, it's a beautiful card. It's absolutely dead nut centered. It's got all the eye appeal. Some reason it got a 9, but when I'm looking at it, it's it's absolutely beautiful card. So, and if I'm selling, and I'm sorry for going on about this, but I just sold. I pulled that Lewis Robert SSP, the running. I sold that thing in a PSA 9, and I was very disappointed because it's a 2020 card. It's a modern card, just came out of the pack. I took it straight from the pack into penny sleeve and top loader, but it's a Topps paper. It's got, those corners are so hard to get perfect on the Topps paper. And I knew if I sold that thing raw at $1,000, the odds of that coming back when the buyer's like, this isn't a 10, this isn't perfect, I knew my percentage chance of getting a return were through the roof. So I sent the thing off. It did come back a PSA 9. I put the listing. This is a PSA 9. Here it is. Here's the close-ups of it. The guy offered me $1,025 within a couple hours, and I sold it. I've got positive feedback. So to me, it was worth getting it graded. It did not diminish the value. It might not have raised it that much, but the peace of mind I think I've got of not getting a return on that card made the 9 worth it to me. What are your thoughts?
I've got little on the lower end, Bo Bichette 9. And I'll take this all day for $9.50 over, maybe $6 raw that could get a 10. And for a lot of different reasons than you said, because you're obviously with the high end, you're going to get a lot of returns. I've got a Zion and a Jaw Purple Hollow Optics I'm going to send off to PSA. Because if I go ahead and sell those to somebody and they're going to return saying, oh, this isn't a 10, I'm not trying to sell you a 10. I'm trying to sell you the card that I have.
You don't work for Beckett or PSA, right? Yeah, you don't know what it is. Yeah.
I don't work there. What if the PSA guy's having a bad day, or gal, whatever? What if they got in a car accident on the way to work? What if they have a cold? What if today it's a 10, tomorrow it's a 9? I mean, to me, it's so subjective at every single one that they almost need to go with AI and computerization for it to look at the exact perfect card. I mean, this 9 to me looks better than some 10s that I've got. I can't tell why this is a 9. It looks perfect, but I'm obviously don't work there, and I'm not skilled in looking at that like those people are. But I also think it's very subjective. But I'd take a 9 on most things because I know what it is, and like you said, you don't want to sell a big card then have them return it because it's not going to grade a 10. But there's also the factor of the excitement where, oh, I can send this into PSA. It might be a 10. It might be a 10. Yeah. Well, I'm going to send my own card in and get it graded. If it's a 9, okay, well, now I'm selling a 9 and I know what I'm selling. Yeah. And the buyer knows what I'm selling. And then if I sell a raw card, my Zion's over $200 card. I'm going to sell that to somebody on eBay or Twitter. One thing has to happen where it's a return, or like you said, they could easily swap the card out for another one. And then you're out $200 and your card. You sell something like this, how are you going to fake this? Yeah. I know people try to do it with the numbers and the codes and stuff, but I'm a trusting person. If it's in a slab, it's a real card. If it's raw, they're talking about doctored cards and all this kind of stuff. It's just I take a 9 over a raw.
Yeah, you open up so many variables on the raw. We both said it. There's just so many moving parts that could come back to bite you. And so if we're talking selling or buying, I'll take the PSA 9 all day, every day over the raw card for sure.
Well, one thing I do want to mention is for personal PC cards, I'll take the raw all day.
Yeah. I'm not going to sell it.
Go buy a 10. I'll go buy it like an Elway rookie PSA 10. I'd rather have a raw Elway rookie than a PSA 9, but that's also a card that's never going to leave my possession.
Right.
That's going to stay with me and then go on to Claire Cooper one day, and into their collection. So for my own personal collection, if I'm buying a 10, or I've got, a couple Elway autographs and stuff they're just staying in one touches and they're never going off to get graded because I'm never going to sell them. They're never going to leave. And the disappointment I'd get out of 9 instead of a 10 is just not worth it. I'd rather have the raw card for, like I said, my own personal PC collection.
I generally agree with that, with one exception, and I'll give you the example of that exception. I'm a huge Rod Carew fan. You know that, Yeah. But most of his cards, late 60s, all through the 70s and early 80s. So when I got back into the hobby, one of the things that I wanted to do first was recreate my lost Rod Carew collection that I'd had as a child. So I started buying cards on eBay. When you're buying in 1977, it's really hard to see the condition on eBay. So I started buying the raw cards, and as they came in, I'm only spending $3 to $5 to $7 to $8 on these cards. But every time I was like, oh, that's not. Look at this corner. Look at this little crease. I couldn't see that on the listing, and then I didn't want to go through the hassle of returns because I'm getting a pretty good price on an older card. So that's it. Made me decide I'm going to start buying these graded. So those are truly PC cards, but I was buying them graded, kind of for what we were talking about earlier. I wanted to know what I was buying. I wanted to know that I'm getting a quality card, that I'm not going to have to go, there's 3 or 4 cards. I think it's 1978. I probably had 5 of them trying to buy one that looked like the picture, and then finally I said, forget it. I'll just start buying these in graded. So I'm not trying to get 10s because, a 1967 Rod Carew 10 sells for about $6,000. I'm not going to do that. But I want some peace of mind in knowing I'm getting a quality. Man, but that's vintage. That's not our new.
I think it's a little different when you're talking a card from 1970 or even Elway early 80s compared to today's modern cards too as well. So that's a whole nother topic for another day.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier in the week. What about your boy Trevor Bauer?
Man, he might be the most interesting man in baseball. Like, if there's one person that I could sit down and have a beer with, like, it would be him. And I know he does these like wine and dine things where he invites people to his house and has these conversations and YouTubes them. Like, hey, Trevor, what can I do to be on your show? Because, Sonny Gray goes out and breaks the Reds' 5-game strikeout record, which, I mean, who even knows that's a record?
Right.
And Trevor Bauer, in true Trevor fashion, says, hold my beer. Budweiser sees it and says, hey, you go do it, and we'll name these the Cincinnati Buds. So last night in the Brewers game, he needed 5 strikeouts. So after each one, he types in B-U-D-S and then underlines it with his cleats behind the mound. And then as soon as he gets the 5th one, he pretends to crack open a beer and chug it. And I'm just thinking, like, what a cool guy, what a fun guy. I mean, in the land of unwritten rule baseball, where the traditionalist hates stuff like that and hates the bat flips, and Jose Bautista's the worst, and Tatis stealing third base and hitting grand slams 3-0 is the worst and terrible for baseball. These things are good for baseball. We have no fans in the seats. We have people watching on TV. And this is just, my opinion, but they're fun. Yep. It's entertaining. And I tuned in last night to watch Trevor Bauer. Like, I'm a huge Reds fan. Last I checked, they're up 2 tonight. Castillo's got like 6 strikeouts, but I'm a really big Trevor Bauer fan. Like, I was at UCLA, I was in Arizona, I was in Cleveland, and I'm happy he's a Red.
Yeah, I'm happy he's a Red right now too, especially with the 1.65 ERA and
he's a Cy Young candidate.
He's got 2 complete game shutouts this year. He only had 3 in his career leading into the year. He only had 3 complete games, and I think only 1 complete game shutout. I mean, he's definitely on his A game right now, and he's fun, like you said. There's nothing wrong. The only sport I played throughout, my youth into high school was baseball. And the traditionalists, you mentioned it, there's just, for some reason in the school, you're not supposed to have fun while playing baseball. Yeah. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why it's lost so many young fans. I mean, you watch a football game, the touchdown celebrations, the sack celebrations, those guys are out there having fun. They're demonstrative, but they're having fun. But you just never really – that's not allowed in baseball. But, I love to see it, kind of what you talked about with him. He wasn't trying to show anybody up. He was just having fun.
No, he was
just having fun, man.
And see, with the part we say showing each other up and having fun, I think there's a fine line in that. And then pitchers, I pitched my whole life, and if you're going to hit a home run off me and then stare at it, like I'm probably going to hit you next time, but I'm never going to throw at your head.
Yeah.
And that's one big thing that he was very vocal on Twitter was, after the Joe Kelly thing and his suspension, he wanted to free Joe Kelly because really he didn't do anything wrong. I don't even think he hit somebody. He just threw behind an Astro, but now they're trying to protect the Astros who can cheat their way to a World Series, but you can't, no suspensions. Can't throw behind one, you get suspended. But, I played in the Little League World Series at the U18 World Series at Indiana University. And I was on Team Ohio. I wasn't even on the team. They just needed an extra guy for an injury. So called me up to play because a bunch of guys that I played with growing up were on the team. And I remember Drew Stubbs. Do you remember Drew Stubbs?
Oh, yeah.
He was a ref. He was on the Texas team. And he hit a home run off me that has not landed yet. It was the furthest ball I have ever seen hit. And he sat and stared. And after the game, I walked up to him and I was like, I'm not even mad. Like, I sat and stared. Like, that was amazing. Like, that was the one time where, show me up because you just hit my best pitch as far as you possibly could. But, just if you're going to have fun, as long as it's not over the line. I mean, and who's to say what's over the line? Am I having a bad day? Like we talked about earlier with the PSA people, did I, in high school, did I get an F on a test? And so I'm in a bad mood that day, or, my girlfriend we just broke up and I'm having a bad time and you just jacked one off me. So I'm going to hit you next. Or am I in a great mood because it's Friday and I'm going to go out, with my buddies for the weekend? I think a lot of things are just kind of in the moment type deals, but just having fun and having a good time, especially with no fans in the stands. And we've got to be breaking records. I haven't even looked at the ratings, but with almost every game televised, people have got to be tuning into baseball, especially with basketball right now. Basketball playoffs are absolutely killing it with like Luka and Damian Lillard and LeBron, but baseball records, viewer wise, have got to be going down,
Yeah.
The record's got to be falling as the viewership is up, and they've got to be having fun to make people tune in to watch. So
yeah. So I got a question. We just talked about pitchers, and previously we talked about PSA 9, PSA 10 raw cards. Why is it? I was just happened to be on eBay today, and I saw a Justin Verlander rookie card, 2005 tops, PSA 10, that sold earlier this week for $219. Wow. So why don't pitchers get any love in the hobby, man?
I wish I knew. I just bought a Garrett Cole for $154 2 days ago. I bought a Juan Soto for $260. I bought a Cody Bellinger $290. And I honestly think, like Trouts are going for, you just saw the guy just bought one for $4 million. Just not even his rookie cards are going for ridiculous amounts of money. And I don't know if it's the can't win the MVP or, you pitch every fifth game. Just, you don't play every single day. You're not out there. Yeah. You're not getting the publicity. Your face isn't on a t-shirt. You're not on SportsCenter or Web Gems every day. You don't have 60 home runs.
Yeah, chicks did go on
Bass Brothers or the summer of Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire, or, maybe it's just the publicity. Like, the Trevor Bauer thing's the first thing good that I've heard about pitchers all season long outside of Shane Bieber being the new, ace. I haven't really heard much about Garrett Cole or Justin Verlander on SportsCenter, the news, the media. The Trevor Bauer Buds thing, maybe it's a local thing. We're in Ohio, and that's my squad. But really, like, I haven't heard anything compared to, you hear everything Slam Diego and Tatis Jr. And I haven't, you hear everything about Luis Robert and, Grisham and Jose Abreu's 3 home run game. Yeah. But you don't hear about 10 strikeouts from Justin Bieber or, 14 from Trevor Bauer. You just don't hear it. So I think that it's not in your face. It's not promoted. So that's what they want. It's kind of related to basketball. Luka cards, after he had the triple double and the game winning shot, they skyrocketed after the game. It's almost one of those daily things for me. And I just don't understand the pitching values. I wish they were higher. Being a former pitcher and a collector, I love pitcher cards. They have some of the most beautiful pictures on them, too, when they're in action. Look at some Homer Bailey cards. with the back leg kick and the follow through. I mean, there's some great photography on pitcher cards, and I wish they're more valuable. Actually, I'm kind of glad they're not, so I can afford them. But I wish they would be in the future. So
yeah, I mean, I think you nailed everything there. I mean, they only play every fifth day, but when they do play, they've got the ball in their hand every single play. So yeah. I mean, even though they're only playing every fifth day, they're in on the action as much as any other player on the field. I mean, through the course of a year, I think it kind of boils down to it. Chicks dig the long ball, collectors dig the long ball.
Chicks dig the long ball.
I mean, that's just it. I mean, it's
that's
just
a great commercial.
But man, I was watching Dustin May the other night, and that dude's throwing 100 miles an hour, and he's got this fastball that defies the laws of physics. I don't know how it does what it does. And then he gets pumped up, he gets excited. So I mean, I truly enjoy watching him pitch. I think it's fun to watch him pitch. But the value of the pitcher cards just isn't there. So
I mean, I had a stack sale this week, and I couldn't sell a Dustin May rookie card for $1. I couldn't sell his Bowman for 50 cents. I'm like, okay, I'll just stack them up and wait 5 years. Maybe it'll be $10 because, like you said, the value is just not there. And that two-seam fastball is so much movement. And you can see other pitchers respecting other pitchers too. And if you the nights that he pitches, get on Twitter and look at that, and you'll see other pitchers. Because now, I know some of the Reds pitchers are in the stands watching the games, and they're watching the highlights just like you and I are and commenting on each other. I know after his first start, because he got called up for opening day when Kershaw went down, a lot of pitchers like, wow, this is the future. The movement on his two-seam fastball. I mean, how are you supposed to hit a 99-mile-an-hour fastball? You have to guess where it is basically and get lucky. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
that guy is the net. I mean, look at the Dodgers with May, Kershaw, Buehler. Yeah. I mean, they rank up there with the Reds with Bauer, Castillo, and Sonny Gray for the top three, in my opinion. I mean, those are the two. Yeah. And then you got to throw the Indians in with the top rotation. I got a little off topic there, but I love talking pitching. So
yeah. Buehler's from my home. Well, he's from Lexington, and that's kind of my hometown. So I'm a Buehler fan for sure. Let's change topics here real quick if you don't mind. I went to my LCS 3 or 4 days ago. Just really needed to pick up a Super Monster box. But I was in there, and lo and behold, they had Chronicles blaster boxes.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Strict limit, one per customer, and they were selling them for $40. So I'd never seen one in the wild. I'm like, all right, I'm going to –
I'm sorry. You said $40?
Yeah, $40.
Wow, that's actually a really good price.
Yeah, it was $40. It was a limit of one. You could only buy one. So I thought, well, I'll buy one just to see what all the fuss is about, what's in it. So I opened it up. I pulled 2 Zions, 2 Jaws. And I'm doing the math on the current comps on selling those singles, and they're not adding up to 40. I'm like, I got a box with 2 Jaw and 2 Zion, and I got a great deal on these. And I don't think I can get my money back. So, I mean, I've seen hanger boxes sell for over $100 for a hanger box. Yeah. What's in there besides pulling the white whale auto that only a very few people are going to get? What is in there that's driving these prices? I mean, I'm not putting 2 to 2 together. I'm getting 5 instead of 4 when I'm doing the math here. I don't understand.
I have a theory because I have not seen a lot of these for sale. So I think people are buying and holding to flip in the future. Like Chronicles football, when that came out, I ripped that, and I just, during my stack sale, made my money back easy, plus some, because people want the football rookies, 50 cents a card. Here you go. Here's all of them. I'll take all of them, get $40 back on a $20 blaster box. But my opinion is on the basketball, I really haven't seen much for sale on Twitter or on eBay. So I think people are holding to see, like the Prism boxes. I went to my LCS. He had a Prism hobby box selling for $4,000. He had a blaster box for, I tried to look at the price tag and I thought it said $180. I mean, that's a $20 box. So I think people are, I bought, when the optics came out, it was $380 for a hobby box. and I really wanted one. I talked to my wife, and she said, if you sell $380 worth of cards, you can go buy one. So I did. I put the work in, I went and bought it, and I maybe got $80 back in return. Yeah. These huge boxes, unless you hit the white whale, they're not for us anymore. And I really think it's the people holding on to them for future sales. Then they're going to realize when they hold on to them for a year, nobody wants these cards anymore. Because you said, you know, you're getting the Zions and the Jaws that aren't worth anything. And at the moment, you know, Zion and Ja are going to go down a little bit because they're out of the playoffs, and Luka, LeBron going to go up a little bit because they're in the playoffs, and Kawhi. But I honestly think people are holding them for future sales because they're looking at what optic megas are going for ridiculous prices. If you have Prism boxes, they're going for ridiculous prices. I mean, base Prism Zion's $200 right now.
Yep. But Chronicles aren't Prism, and they're not.
You're not getting that out of it. So that's what I think is people are holding. What's your opinion?
I think you're right. There's a thread on Twitter tonight, and I don't know who it was. It just showed up in my timeline. It probably will show up in yours too. But there was a guy that's posted. He had 2 blaster shipper cases that you get, you know, that the MJ Holdings people, you know, stock them in. And he's like, I don't care. Haters are going to hate. These are mine.
I know you're talking about. I saw it. I'm not going to mention his name, but
in the thread, though, there were 6, 7, 8 guys that posted kitchenfuls, you know, like a kitchen counter with just 40 boxes. And another guy's like, here's my 35 boxes. And another guy's got a picture with 60 boxes. And I think you're right. I mean, I think these guys are just, you know, just stockpiling, hoping that they're going to be like the Prism and that they can sell those boxes for $180, $200, $300 a few months from now. And I just hope they don't go to that. I mean, there's got to be a line somewhere.
I know that guy. I've had many positive interactions with him, and I've actually been in a charity break with him and some of his buddies. So my next comment is not directed directly towards him. If he happens to watch this video, please don't think this is directed towards you. But a lot of this is that cook groups where, you know, I'm doing this, the hustle's real, haters going to hate, posting all the stuff that they don't have, you know, showing $25,000 a month in Amazon flips and Amazon sales, but not showing, you know, how much they're spending, and trying to, you know, almost like the Gary Vee effect where he says, you know, this card's going to go up and then it goes up. So they have these, you know, Discord groups where they say, hey, I'll buy all this stuff. This is where you can get it. I know this guy. Then they have people go out and buy stuff for him. And I personally don't think this is what that guy did, because
I didn't think so either.
Him.
I thought he was going to
interact with him a lot. I think he's a really good human being, does a lot of charity work, and he hustles. But a lot of those other people and a lot of followers are that way. And I don't think they even have those cards. They just post, you know, so people, you know, get some clout. Yeah. People think that they've got stuff and, you know, will buy from them. Yeah. I think it's a lot of cook groups too. So
I got the impression from his tweet that he was probably going to open those cards. It was the replies that I was referring to. I mean, there were 7 or 8 replies that, I mean, guys were posting hundreds of boxes, you know, that they had stockpiled. And it was not one trip to Walmart and then opened. Yeah. They had gone to several different locations, and they were saving these for whatever reason.
And
Speaking of that, though, go ahead.
Sorry, I guess my reply was also kind of directed towards the comments, because I read through them, because that individual, like I said, I have many positive interactions with him, like him a lot, and don't think he's, you know, he's probably going to open every single one of those and have a good time and enjoy himself tonight. But it's those other people in the comments that are what I was talking about earlier. So. Yeah.
And I mean, I won't lie. One time this spring, I found a bunch of optic basketball at Target, and I bought $480 worth of optic and went home and opened every single one of them. The Zion that I just sent you came from that stash. So, you know, when I say what I'm about to say, I'm not hating on somebody who goes and sees, oh, there's all these, let me buy them all. Have you noticed a trend on Twitter where we post pictures of all the guys in line with the MJ Holdings, and we post these pictures to shame these guys? Like, look at these. But the thing that's been driving me crazy, and I think it's funny and it's so ironic, is the original poster who took the picture of these people to put online to shame. They were in line as well.
They're in line too, yeah.
They couldn't have taken the picture if they weren't there, you know. So I was like, I mean, I don't know. I just think that's ironic and funny, and I wonder if they see the
I
irony
didn't
or if it just goes right over their head.
I didn't think about that till right now, but that
Yeah,
is hilarious because you are absolutely right. They're in line or they went there for
yeah,
cards. Every once in a while I'll go. I've got three Targets and a Walmart within 5-10 miles of me. Every once in a while I'll hit them all up, just see what they got. But traditionally it's I'm going to Walmart for something, I'll
yeah,
look in the card aisle.
yeah.
I'm going to Target for something, I'll look in the card aisle. Or we've got a grocery pickup because right now we're not real comfortable going into stores, so we do a lot of grocery pickups. Hey, if we're there, I'll mask up, I'll walk in, see if they got anything. If they do, great. If they don't, whatever. Or I bought some Topps Chrome off our buddy Kelly cards
Yeah.
this week, and bought the one box of Mosaic that I opened. I got from one of my guys in one of my Twitter chat groups who sold it to me for cost, because that's super cool too. That guy could have made a ton of profit because it was Mosaic, and he literally sold it to me for cost plus shipping. And those are
That's
the
awesome.
kind of people where you get in groups or friends. Like if I had a box of something, and you wanted it at cost, I'd sell it to you at cost, but I'd sell it to the next person at what I could get it for. And then, with me and with Twitter, it's all about building relationships, building
Watch.
friendships. And, I didn't know you 4 months ago, and now you're a friend of mine that I talk
Right.
to pretty much every day. And we got a weekly card show. So
Yeah.
there's that relationship you build with people. And that comes with interaction. And I just can't get over the guys with socks and sandals. I just can't get over the picture in my head, and that guy standing there taking the picture that you mentioned. Like,
Yeah.
I just keep laughing about it,
Yeah,
man.
that's the picture I was thinking about, because then the guy circled up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that's the
It was a good
exact
time.
post. That's the exact post. Well, man, I tell you what, tomorrow's the first day of school for my kids.
Woo, good
Yeah,
luck.
so it's going to be the virtual thing. So we got to get up and get all the technology, make sure it's all up and running. So it's been fun though, man. I've enjoyed this. I mean, this is one of my. I texted you last night or messaged you like, hey man, we forgot to do our show tonight. So
Yeah.
I look forward to it every week, and so let's do it again next week, man.
Yeah, I'm in for just about every week that
All
I'm
right.
available right now. Sunday, Monday's my day off. Just happen to have Tuesday off this week. So let's keep it up. I think more people are starting to see what we're doing and watching in, tuning in. And, I'm all about enjoying it. I enjoy our conversations, and I think you do too. So
Absolutely.
let's
And
keep doing
let
it.
me add, if you happen to be watching this and you want to join in with us one week, reach out to one of us. We'd be more than happy to have somebody else on here with us. I mean,
Oh,
all right, man. Peace. Have a good
hey,
night.
take
Thanks,
care.
everybody.
Peace and
All right.
love. Have a good night, everyone.